The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Dimitar Kovachevski, Prime Minister of the Republic of North Macedonia. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. I have great pleasure in welcoming His Excellency Dimitar Kovachevski, Prime Minister of the Republic.
Dear President of the United Nations General Assembly, dear Secretary General of the United Nations, dear heads of state and colleagues, heads of government, ladies and gentlemen. Our strength is in our unity. This lesson, that together we can achieve much more than alone, is a lesson that the world of today is learning in unanticipated circumstances in the 21st century. First the pandemic, and now the cruel war in Ukraine. Now and in the future, the democratic world needs unity in overcoming the globally spread consequences that countries in Europe or worldwide are facing. As of the start of making joint and united efforts in response to the start of the war, the Republic of North Macedonia immediately and decisively aligned itself with the European Union foreign policy and that of the democratic world. We joined global efforts in response to the war as a country committed to peace and to finding dialogue-based solutions, as a country fully dedicated to European values. In doing so, we relied on our own experiences and lessons, learned according to which peace, strength, and progress can be achieved only with unity. We learned this lesson both when we peacefully declared independence in 1991 and in 2001, when we rose above the internal interethnic conflict, while today we rely on our experiences in pursuing our established concept of one society for all, setting thus an example of a functional multi-ethnic democracy, while being a significant factor of stability in the Western Balkans and consequently in Europe as well, which on its part makes us a reliable partner of the international democratic community. Functional solutions that work in a small area, always serve as a roadmap to finding solutions in the global setting. No matter how many challenges arise in a given wide geographic area, they do erupt in a certain smaller area, becoming then a potential global threat. That point of eruption today is an independent and sovereign state, Ukraine, whose citizens are faced with an unacceptable and unjustifiable aggression by the Russian Federation. There are two especially concerning aspects which demand our full attention. One of them is related to the fact that a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council committed the aggression, the Russian Federation. The fact that a country has decided to resolve a challenge using force, despite being a member of an organization which is founded on the commitment to preserving world peace, runs contrary to all the endeavors and commitments of the civilized world to putting an end to all forms of actions which cause loss of human life and jeopardize the global peace. Furthermore, the demonstration of a force by a geographically larger country against a geographically smaller country which is committed to fostering and sharing democratic values is a dangerous and impermissible precedent. In simple terms, everything must be done in order to prevent that this become a practice in this world we share, where there are geographically smaller and bigger countries. As we can see, problems are multidimensional and affect us all. These are challenges we all face in the most severe winter we have ahead of us since the World War II, to ensure availability of food and energy for our citizens. Therefore, we must search for solutions acting in unison. Response or solutions to interlocking challenges is the essential topic of this debate. That is, that solutions are to be found in solidarity. Solutions must be sustainable and science-based. Speaking about sustainability, I believe we should take into consideration another bitter experience from the war in Ukraine. The struggle for peace is ongoing, and peace necessitates continual dedication to mutual understanding, vigilance, and prompt actions. Dear colleagues, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to convey a clear message for my country. The unprovoked aggression by the Russian Federation against Ukraine is a gross violation of the United Nations Charter and of international law norms and principles. The aggression cannot be justified or relativized. The Russian Federation must put an immediate end to the aggression and withdraw its troops from Ukraine. History teaches us that no problem can be resolved by using force. Putting an end to the aggression is the necessary precondition in order to open the only feasible way of finding a solution, and that is diplomacy and dialogue. The latter can and must be the sole mechanism for settling disputes and resolving differences between countries. The uncertainty of food and energy supply will deepen differences at the global level between the rich North and the poor South, and will bring millions of people at the brink of their existence, even being threatened with hunger. We will all feel the impact, both economically more developed and economically less developed countries. We must rely on lessons learned from the pandemic. That is, international solidarity is not to be guided by the fact whether solidarity is needed among the better developed countries or is required among less developed countries. This especially if we want to prevent the rise of new challenges ensuing from the growing dissatisfaction of citizens in global terms. The pandemic reminded us that we all are equal when faced with a common, in this case invisible enemy that took millions of human lives worldwide. The pandemic also brought to light the importance of solidarity and unity, transposed into concrete international cooperation. These are the principles that should guide our future actions when facing present and future challenges. In the specific context of overcoming the consequences of the war in Ukraine, it is necessary to double the efforts in enhancing international solidarity and mutual assistance on equal footing, both in the European Union, where the Ukraine war impact is one of the largest scopes, but also worldwide. This particularly applies to finding viable solutions to overcome challenges relating to energy supply, but food as well. In this context, I would like to underscore the important active role of Secretary General Guterres, as well as of Turkey mediating in the exports of wheat from Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, developments in and surrounding Ukraine have pushed numerous other conflicts worldwide in the background. However, the focus on such conflicts must remain sharp. Terrorism in all its forms is still a global threat jeopardizing the entire humanity. Numerous hybrid threats cause great concern and distress. Fake news and the possibility provided by social network, that is, by internet communication, that such news is spread on a mass scale is a challenge facing the entire democratic world. Authoritarian tendencies disguised under the veil of disindigenous patriotism pose a serious threat to human rights and freedoms and prompt potential instabilities. We also face burning climate change issue, despite all endeavors for putting up a joint and united front in saving our planet Earth. The recent catastrophic floods in Pakistan are but one of the last visible consequences in the series of extreme natural disasters worldwide occurring due to climate change. Losing biodiversity, air pollution, and the lack of water impose themselves as priority threats, not only against the environment and ecosystem, but also against people's lives. And such a situation will persist until every individual becomes fully aware that nature is not ours, but is part of us, and we should treat it as such. All these problems demand concrete actions founded on intensified and consolidated efforts that would be focused both on prevention and on finding solutions. Conflicts, instability, violence, climate change cause the spread of grave poverty for millions of people, as well as displacement of population, which is growing into an exodus. Immigration waves we faced in past years coming from Syria and Afghanistan are not winding down. Now we also have millions of refugees from Ukraine. The Republic of North Macedonia opened its doors to citizens of Ukraine, who forced to flee their homelands sought refuge in our country. This is a good opportunity that we duly commend continues This is a good opportunity that we duly commend countries worldwide that receive the largest numbers of refugees, as well as substantial number of citizens throughout the world who work every day to provide care for refugees and help those in need. My country, the Republic of North Macedonia, using its available capacities, remains committed to honoring international commitments in the humanitarian area. In order that we successfully deal with and manage immigration diverse types, it is necessary to strengthen the awareness that it is a matter of global challenge, which necessitates coordinated activities in pursuance with the shared responsibility principle. Dear colleagues, we learn from experience that no problem is a minor problem. Every minor problem has the potential of growing into a more difficult and larger scale problem. However, our coming together these days at the seat of the United Nations serves as a good reminder that strength and solutions can be achieved by uniting ourselves in support of genuine values. Multilateralism and respect for established rules and obligations, starting with the United Nations Charter, are the only way of providing the much-needed predictability in international relations. We are building our future now, today, and together, despite all deficiencies of international mechanisms. Multilateralism and United Nations, as its most visible and recognized form, having the universal mission of preserving the peace, are still the key important catalyst encouraging joint efforts towards better, safer, and more just world. Global challenges require global response. No country could deal with 21st century problems acting on its own. Now, more than ever, we need to demonstrate that multilateralism works and gives results in times of crisis. In this context, the report, Our Common Agenda, by Secretary General Guterres, is to be our roadmap in pursuing global governance reforms, which would open the way for the United Nations multilateral central system to adapt to the future and be able to contribute to joint endeavors. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, of course, remains the starting point in pursuing global actions. This agenda not only addresses chronic and persistent problems of poverty and inequitable development, but it can also serve as a platform for finding solutions for all other problems, starting with the necessity that we unite standing behind a new agenda for peace, while placing the human dimension in the focus of technological development in the digital era. The Republic of North Macedonia works intensively to accomplish the Millennium Development Goals and support all efforts aimed at making the United Nations stronger and more efficient. In pursuing the Millennium Development Goals, as well as other development activities in the national, regional, and global settings, we need to ground ourselves on the supposition that we owe it to young generations to provide them with conditions for progress. Young people, their access to modern, forward-looking education and resolution of problems they face must be the center of our attention and our political engagement in the coming years. In this respect, I should like to emphasize that for the second consecutive years, a youth delegate from the Republic of North Macedonia participates in the work of the General Assembly. Dear friends, on January 1st, 2023, the Republic of North Macedonia will have the honor of taking over the chairmanship of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, the largest regional security organization. This brings great responsibility, especially taking into consideration that my country is taking over the OSCE chairmanship at the times when there is a military aggression in Europe, along with all ensuing consequences for the peace and security in the OSCE area and wider. Yet, I am confident that we will successfully justify the trust bestowed upon us. North Macedonia has sometimes been the beneficiary of mediation security mechanism, including the United Nations Peace Mission, and has had first-hand experience with the benefits of peace-building efforts in the international community. Relying on such community, we stand ready to contribute to strengthening and developing the security in the wider context. As of 2023, OSCE Chair, we will be fully committed to the noble mission of serving peace and security as a precondition for economic and social development, and I am confident that we will contribute to advancing multilateral security mechanism. Our confidence is based on our practices of living together in unity and the related benefits in the national, regional, and international setting. Today, I am representing before all of you a country in which all ethnic communities have equal constitutionally guaranteed rights and obligations. We are working to make the Republic of North Macedonia a civic, democratic society in which differences are regarded as an enriching advantage and not as an obstacle. Standing united as a multi-ethnic functional democracy today, we are a successful example of a mini-Europe on the Balkans. However, having in mind the significance of a mutual understanding, respect and support, which prompt and motivate unity, working together with our two neighbors Albania and Serbia, we have established the Open Balkan Initiative. Today, this initiative has grown into a successful example of regional interconnectivity. It has also contributed to our shared commitment to removing unnecessary barriers for movement of people, trade, transport of goods and provision of services. In the present circumstances, the initiative has enabled us to ensure availability of food for our citizens based on our agreement to help each other if faced with lack of food on our respective domestic markets as a consecutive of the global crisis. As a consequence of the global crisis. We have furthermore agreed that there will be no bans on trade in basic agriculture and food products. We are also intensively considering options for cross-border trade in electricity and providing assistance with the various energy sources, as part of our effort to overcome the serious energy situation the entire world is facing. We are also developing good neighborly relations with a keen sense of responsibility and by way of dialogue convinced that safeguarding national and state interests does not run contrary to wider scope integration processes and advanced cooperation with countries in our neighborhood. Quite the contrary, self-affirmation finds its most relevant and appropriate reflection in a wider community of shared values. Guided by these policies of building bridges while employing functional diplomacy, dialogue and understanding, we have succeeded in accomplishing the strategic goal of becoming part of NATO, and today we are a proud, fully fledged member of the alliance. After a long 17 years since we were granted EU membership candidate status, we have started accession negotiations with the European Union. My country attaches particular importance to our speedy EU integration. We work with dedication and persistence to undertake all steps required for the accomplishment of my country's second strategic goal. Citizens of North Macedonia have waited far too long for this moment, and I acknowledge and understand the frustration and fatigue that they feel walking on this long road to Europe. But we don't have any other alternative to reach our goal of better living standards, and that no one promised us the road would be easy. In fact, despite the difficulties, the EU still represents the best option for our future and our children's future. We don't have the opportunity and the privilege to give it up. Now is the time to continue with full power forward and even double speed. I would like to underscore that the EU membership of the Republic of North Macedonia is of essential importance also for the European Union itself, especially in the new circumstances in the global context, in which such a message of encouragement, that the enlargement process continues and awaits the entire region, which no matter the progressive leadership is not immune to global challenges. This especially in conditions in which the European integration and democratic path of the Western Balkans countries should and must be ensured as a contribution to the European peace. The story of my homeland, the Republic of North Macedonia, which 2 weeks ago celebrated 31 years of independence, is a story of peace, cooperation and understanding, employing which it was established, while dealing with challenges and overcoming threats both for our internal stability and on our way to international integration. Thus, I should like to underline that we are solution-oriented, working together in facing challenges that do not recognize state borders, ethnic, linguistic, religious, or any other differences. Dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I am especially honored and pleased that as the Prime Minister of the Republic of North Macedonia, I have the opportunity of addressing you for the first time here at the United Nations, the organization that is the guardian of peace, solidarity and prosperity. I would like to offer my appreciation to Mr. Abdullah Shahid, President of the 76th General Assembly, for his successful work. I am confident that Mr. Tsaba Koroshi, who took over the presidency of the 77th General Assembly, will be equally successful. The pandemic and the war in Ukraine have brought to light human weaknesses or fragility even in this modern 21st century. Yet, as the pandemic has also demonstrated the power of innovation and the capability of science to quickly produce the necessary vaccines, humanity must also continue relying on science and keep believing in its humanistic foundations and capabilities and peace. We are all in the same boat, and we have no other choice except to treat each other with solidarity and work in unity, defending and advancing fundamental values of freedom and peace throughout the world. Peace is reached by making compromises, but peace is preserved with mutual understanding. Thank you for your attention. Long live Republic of North Macedonia.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the Prime Minister of the Republic of North Macedonia for the statement just made, and I request protocol to escort His Excellency.